if you're watching a movie, everyone's sitting the same way, right? Because you're looking at the same thing.
Oh shit, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like that. Like, so right now we have this landscape in which we see the same thing, and like it's almost like ideas are just put out there, and you could catch like the idea maybe quicker.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah.
So maybe that makes a difference. I don't know. How you doing?
Man, dude,
It's pretty wild, right?
yeah, dude. I've never paid it like.
So like Q&A, like maybe a Q&A would work better, like if you're across, because how do we relate to that? Interviews or a date, or you know, I don't know. Anytime you're sitting across a table from somebody, like think of like authority figure. You know, they're behind a desk or something, and you have to like answer.
Anytime you have like that distance, it allows you to like, if you want to go on a defensive mode,
it
allows it much easier just because you have that distance apart.
Right.
But it's also from a distance you can pick up on different projections, like the person's showing.
Yeah.
As far as like, I'll give you an example. All right. Do you know who Dan Pena is?
Yeah.
Okay. So he calls himself like the $50 billion man, and he's basically a high performance coach.
Cool.
And so I met up with him in Oklahoma City.
Oh,
you're all good, man. But I met up with him in Oklahoma City, and when I had a face-to-face conversation for about 20 minutes, he literally didn't really like give me direct eye contact. So in like situations like that, I'll just use an example. Yeah, Dan Pena.
Okay. Pena.
Dan.
Oh, Dan.
My bad. Dan Pena. Yeah. He's got an interesting story. I've listened to his audiobook several times.
Is it like that?
Yeah, it's exactly like that. Yeah. I thought you right away. The little accent on the end.
Yeah. Squiggles.
But yeah, just the example of like, he eventually like gave me eye contact, but it's not something like right now because we're right next to each other.
Yeah.
Well, we're still doing it. Like we'll occasionally like look at each other and like, I'm like,
yeah,
oh,
like,
shoot,
hey.
that's a great point, man.
Right.
I love that kind of thing.
Yeah,
like, we have eye contact. But like if we're at distance and we're facing across each other, you can pick up on eye contact. You can pick up on like the facial expressions as far as like whether they're lying or whether they're genuine ordeal, and just the energy they can bring.
How about
like,
this?
Yes. Okay.
This is cool.
Let's hear it.
How about that? Like, okay, so I'm communicating. You're communicating, and we're videotaping this, right?
Yeah.
From the perspective of a given, maybe a seat. There's a seat behind this camera, so it's like, insert here whoever wants to watch. And so it's their perspective, right? Yeah. So it is an interview still.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
Well, we're not thinking,
whoever makes the decision to watch this,
right,
is basically watching us talk to them, interview them. We're not really interviewing them, but like we're still talking to them.
But they're still like, okay,
well,
so
then you can go down the dimension route because they're in another dimension because they're in a different point in time.
But then they're able to connect. It's almost like that's what's beautiful about film or video or anything like or art. So you're able to capture that moment and that given time.
Oh, okay. Well, hold on. Okay, go back to that quote though, because that quote relates to that thing. Like if they're capturing a moment in time, that Albert Einstein quote.
Oh yeah.
That's literally the same exact thing because like people will always be watching it, no matter as long as documentation is always still around.
So yeah, Einstein once remarked, "Many times a day I realize how much my own outer and inner life is built upon the labors of my fellow men, both living and dead, and how earnestly I must exert myself in order to give in return as much as I have received." Yeah. So good.
Yeah. It's like the example of some type of valuable footage that offers, like, say, like documentary, like a 20-year-old documentary that was really well done 20 years ago, and we watch it today. Like, that person who did it and say he's not alive, like, wow, they were given so much value that we could take from it, and he wouldn't necessarily ever know. Or, he would never know just because he's dead. And just for us, I love that because it's taking gratefulness or appreciation to a whole nother level as far as when you start to appreciate things where the person that was involved in that item or that thing or that content or whatever it is doesn't know that you're taking in, and you just want to have that thought of like, you know what, I really appreciate what you did. There's no way you'll ever know it, but
it's like seeking, like, you ever heard that quote, like, do for others what they can never do for you?
Yeah.
It's like on a deeper level.
Yeah, that's true.
It goes back to
that quote makes more sense too now that you said that quote from Albert Einstein.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, be able to do that is just, it's powerful.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not a burden because you're so grateful for all that you've learned, so that you want to be able to exert yourself and give it back to humanity or to those that follow your steps.
Yeah.
And it's important to do that. Like, so it's like, so like as of late, I've changed a little bit of my perspective as far as like decision making and just doing things. And I've been living in like what I thought was like a caring way and like helping others, but to completely put myself in a position to say, okay, they say purpose, like, okay, people when they think of purpose, they think of like, okay, this is what I'm gonna get and this is how I'm gonna live my life, right? But it's, so people think that purpose is like the finish race. It's like the finish line, right? It's like what you get out of it. So but truly, purpose is what you become through it, or what you have to offer. So like, what is your purpose? So like, it goes back to adding value. So it's like at any given moment, you're never gonna truly live with purpose if you're not living on purpose and truly giving 100%. So like, it doesn't matter if it's inconvenient for you. When you start to live with purpose for others, like, what is this small little thing that I can do that will just add value or help the other person? Like little things. So like every day I've noticed I've been doing it, not expecting anything back. So what's something? So today I gave you 2 books, right, to help you in your mentorship and path, right?
Yeah.
And these are books you're gonna loan out, right? And you know, Business of the 21st Century is a great, powerful book, and I have a few. But what I said to you last night, hey, when you give these books out and they give them back to you, I want you to keep them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's something where it's like, I don't know. I like the idea like that I can do that. Yeah. And so every day, the last few days, I've been trying to do something. So today, this is pretty cool. So today, at work, made fresh coffee, told everybody about the coffee, and one person's like, hey, you know what? I think I'll make a coffee today. Never drinks coffee. And actually PJ. And I'm like, hey man, if you want, you can use my mug. All I just gotta do is wash it. I wanted coffee, but I wanted more for him to have coffee.
Oh, okay.
So I washed my cup. I didn't get coffee ever, and I washed my mug and I put it on his desk. I'm like, hey man, here you go. And it was kind of like, it didn't feel like a sacrifice. It felt like I just did something because there was he didn't have a mug, or he didn't have a cup.
Yeah.
So it was just like, you're the so it goes back to purpose. People think that what you get out of purpose is a means to an end, but to find true purpose is to find that you are the means to an end. So at any given situation, you are the fixer, you are the solution, not the problem. And it's being able to identify what people need, you know? Yeah. So like, little things maybe.
Things a lot of times they can be things too they don't even recognize they need also.
They don't. That doesn't, and so it comes down to it doesn't come.
Actually, yeah, you're probably like most of the time it's the things they don't recognize they need. So it's just
Exactly, and it's on a deeper level. Like it's you're not doing it for the pat in the back or the recognition. It's just like that unsaid moment. You know, that exchange between two people. It's just kind of like. It's the human condition. Like you're literally experiencing, this like primal state of like sharing and like not living for yourself. It's basically like everything, living out your life and just forgetting what you want and living to like. If I ever hear people say they're bored or they're like they don't know what they want to do, then it's because they've been living for themselves so long that maybe they've done everything they wanted to do, and their purpose is just maybe, drink all the time or do drugs all the time or whatever. And that, nothing against that. But it's because we as humans, if we live for ourselves only, there's only so much that we're going to want to do and be excited about life until we figure out how we can be of purpose to others. I figured that out. That's like my recent like internal dialogue.
Dude, that's still
like thinking of like, and it just changes everything. You know?
Yeah.
So I thought about, so like just now before this podcast, I was like, yeah, you know, I'll come over here, hang out. I'm getting hungry. Okay, I haven't ate all day. I've been working all day, and you're like, yeah, man, you got time? I'm like, yeah, I got time. I'm just kind of hungry though. But I realized how much value and like how important it is.
I was like, hey,
like,
dude,
what if this is seen by the right person? What if, whatever?
Yeah, see, that's the interesting thing too, because like I don't even think about it that way from when I ever do podcasts. I'm just like, I just enjoy doing them, and I always learn stuff from people, and I always benefit from it because I'm doing mind exploration for myself, and hopefully the other person is too.
Yeah.
And I'll eventually go into my story here as far as how this came, but I don't want to stop from what the topic we're talking about because I'm loving where we're going.
So good.
And I'm just thinking of a point I wanted to make. We'll go back to just what you were sharing there a little bit because I wanted to say something again, and I just kind of lost my train of thought for a second.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just important to remind yourself, like,
oh yeah, I got it.
You
got what I was saying.
The ego is a very powerful thing, and you know, you just want to, right? We're all in search for happiness, and so there's so many things like you hear, like you really have to block off certain information that you receive. And what do I mean by that? Like maybe just certain people, the way they live or what they value, and sometimes they value things over people more. And those are, you know, we've heard that, oh yeah, you know, people suck or this, that, the other. It's just like, you know, it's because they for so long have been an obstacle to your way of how you want to get something done, or maybe, you know, it's an obstacle. That's what people think, like we were just obstacles to another or an inconvenience. Yeah. But truly, it's like, it's letting go of like, and this just sounds harsh, but it's, you know, what is it? We use people and we love things versus it should be we should love people and use things. And it's like, not that like a decent person, everyday average Joe, not that he means to like use people, but he's going to be like, all right, I'm going to talk to the secretary this way, and I'm going to make my sales call this way so I can get what I want, and I'm going to talk and and we're just like, you know, very strategic as to like to get what we want. Yeah. You know, because we think like we have to go this preordained path, like, all right, you know what I'm saying, versus like letting that go and just and just loving on people, love on people, and then use like the opportunities like like a thing, like this video is a thing. I mean, we're using that as like a canvas, or as a medium to capture a moment. You know,
I like how you just put a canvas capturing a moment. We're gonna have a little. All right. I'm just gonna say, like, we're gonna have a little. You know how like artists do like the little signature, like that'll be included right there, hypothetically someday.
There you go.
So I was gonna go back to, gosh darn, I was gonna say another thing too after you were just talking there because I loved everything you just said. I was gonna add, but I can't remember that point.
So share your story.
Because I'm still. Well, not that yet.
Oh, okay.
So I want to say. Hold up, I'm gonna figure out what point you said because I want to relate it back to what I'm about to say. So when we're saying. Oh yeah, about how people will like mention like, yeah, I'm bored with my life. I don't know what I want to do, kind of thing. I'm just not set on knowing my purpose or deal. Right. And a lot of times, like you're saying, like just because they've always had the mindset, at least for a long time, if not most of their life, just always think about themselves. How can they better themselves or get things they want, and they feel like they're gonna become happy from it? So it's so interesting you said that because like today, I literally talked to like 3 coworkers in like a span of like. Just 20 or 30 minutes, which is hilarious. Well, not hilarious, but it's funny to me that now I'm just thinking about it. Yeah. And all 3 of them kind of focused on like they just were uncertain what path they're going to go right now, and a lot of it just has to do with they're just not happy with things are in their life, like just finances or just not having time and such. And I always like drove down like, well, know your why, know your purpose, kind of ordeal. But I didn't even like I know about like what you just shared as far as like. Dude, once you know, like once you have the mindset of you always want to help people over yourself, it completely changes the game. But even today, like I'm thinking about mentioning that to him, but it's just those are 3 examples of people that would benefit so much from just having an understanding of, man, once you start putting your mindset towards looking how you can better their lives, and it doesn't have to be a big betterment or small betterment, as long as you're making the initiative to go about helping them in whatever shape or form, like drastically changes